traveling spirit, I've seen many shores, from the West Pacific to the island of Kenya. They treat me like a son anywhere I go.
Good evening YouTube, welcome to another video. Now I'm at Elgol on the Isle of Skye still. I did actually stay here last night. If you've seen last week's video, that makes sense. A bit of a problem this morning. Down at Elgol on the beach, and I've actually walked for about 25 minutes all around the beach here. If anyone's been down there, they know it's not a very nice beach at all. I've actually gone pretty much across all the loose rocks and the massive boulders you have on it, and through across two big gullies really, which means you have to scramble down them. I was hoping to get around to get a better shot of the cooling range, and I think when you get further around there's a few coves that rather than having the kind of rough pebbles and stuff like that, which is on the beach down at Elgol, I think you get some nice round smooth ones, which is what I wanted to get. I have a feeling there's a cove around there which you can get to. Unfortunately I followed the coast around, I've got to a point I can't really go any further. You have to scramble over quite a few things, including up and around this kind of rock and the edge that juts out. I'm actually halfway up the cliff at the moment between these two pinnacles, one either side of me, but the drop down here is just unaccessible for me really. I've not got a climbing helmet or any ropes or anything, so unfortunately I'm going to have to turn back. Didn't quite go to plan. It's a shame because we had some really nice light this morning. We've got some kind of golden red clouds in the sky above my head, and the cooling range has got a nice bit of cloud around it at the moment, which is making it nice and moody. I'll just try and re-expose so you can see. I can't do it, I can't touch the button. But yeah, some really nice colour up on the cooling range at the moment. What I'm going to be doing is heading back. I'm going to have to try and find a composition on the normal beach. I've never shot anything here that I really like, to be honest. So hopefully I can find something that does work. Maybe by going down right to the water and getting the water breaking over those rocks, I might get something. Anyway, I'm going to get back down off the cliff now, get back onto the beach and start making my way back. I'll probably catch up with you in about 20 minutes for me, hopefully get a nice composition. I'm going to have to make my way all the way back to the village from here, which I can see in the very distance, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to shoot enough of the range around this rock face. Otherwise this thing at the moment, the beach around there is just being blocked out by this bit on the edge, so I'll catch up with you in a little bit. Hopefully we'll get a shot, hopefully it'll work out a bit better. Right, I've not gone home yet, I'm still in the little kind of cliff gorge thing. The reason is the light has gone absolutely stunning, really, really beautiful on this mountain. It's kind of a shame I didn't really get the composition that I wanted because of that. But that being said, the rest of the cooling range looks pretty boring, to be honest. I'm not sure what this mountain is. It's the one that's opposite Skye. I know that's the only one I know because I camped there a few years ago. But the one opposite is absolutely beautiful. The cloud has just cleared, and it's probably one of the longest sunrises I've seen this year so far. It's still got beautiful light on the top of the peak. The light, that sun is just hitting the kind of top where the snow-capped mountain is. What I'm doing is I've got my ND stop on my Lee big stop with my 10-stop filter. I've also got the soft grad down to bring down some of that brightness in the sky. And I'm shooting a 30-second exposure at f9. It's quite low aperture, but it's something quite in the distance. I don't need to go any higher than that. I'm shooting with the 24 to 105, and that's given me 30-second image, a 30-second exposure, which is giving me some nice movement in the cloud. Probably getting to the end of the best light now. It's starting to go a bit more yellowy and less red. But the images that are coming out from it are really, really, really beautiful. The only thing I think I'm going to struggle potentially is getting them to I might potentially struggle with is getting them to have enough water and sky in the picture to stitch when I do the panoramic stitch. So what I'm probably going to do now is go to some portraits, get those in the bag. I think we're going to have this mountain looking quite nice for probably a good hour still. It's going to be a bit yellowy, but with the snow on the top, it should catch the light, so I should still be able to catch up view on the way back. I'll leave it here at this location now. I'm going to get a few portrait stitches in there. I'll catch up view, hopefully a bit further along the beach when we get set up for that hour shot.
About to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for.
Right, the tide is coming in very, very quick. It's a bit of a silver lining really, although I couldn't get to the location I wanted earlier. I have a feeling I would have messed up quite badly, and I would have probably ended up getting stuck by the tide. I would have got around because the sea doesn't come up enough past the end there where the beach is for me not to make it, but I would have ended up probably being knee deep, which isn't always that fun in the winter. Right, now this is kind of what I mean really. There's a few nice like round boulders on Elgol beach, and this is the nicer side to be honest. But and you can't see them behind you, but there is just 1,001 rocks, and they've almost looked like they've come from the coast, from the cliff, opposed to the sea. There's just huge rocks. I mean, they might have been brought here during an ice age or something. They've just never kind of worn away by the sea. I don't think the sea comes in far enough. We do have a few nice round rocks, but there's just too many big ones scattered in. I never really like the images I get here, to be honest. But I'm going to give it another try today anyway, especially while we've got some nice light on the top there. I'm going to be trying to do some sweeping. Saying that, it doesn't look too bad shooting down that way actually, the way the light's reflecting off those at the moment. I'm going to be trying to do, and you have to forgive me as I go out of the camera shot. I'm going to be trying to do some sweeping panoramic stitches again. It's kind of flavour at the month at the moment. I'm doing a lot of them. That's what I want. But the reason is for that, I really like the wide angle lenses when you shoot them in portrait. I like the fact you can really get a nice, a lot of foreground interest in them, and that's what I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to be doing this today, or this morning anyway. So I've got the 16 to 35mm lens back on. Probably going to be doing, like I say, wide angle shots. I've got the Lee soft grad on now, which is just bring down the mountains. I'm just going to get in fact the tripod is pretty much spot on already for doing a sweep. That's not too bad at all. I'm not going to use a polarizer because I like the reflection we're getting off the rocks. Although it might take a bit of glare away, it does actually look quite nice. I'm probably going to have to put a ND filter on as well, because I want there to be some movement in the water, and at the moment I'm only getting 1/10 of a second exposure. So what I'm going to have to do with this one, and apologies that you see my back all the time, there's not much I can do. I don't want to put you in the middle of the ocean. I'm going to be shooting a higher ISO than I probably want to, but I need to do that to get the exposure time right. That's, in fact, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to double up my my grad filters, like I do a lot. that should give me the image, the exposure time I want. I'm only looking at, you know, half a second exposure. That'll be enough. With a lot of movement in the water, if you do really long exposures, a lot of the time the scene ends up worse for it. So this is going to be the hard grad, which I'm going to push all the way down. Just give me a weekend deal. I could also use a polarizer to have a similar effect, although it wouldn't be as strong. Right, just get that tripod dead level. I've not really got my tripod amazingly well, to be honest. I'm just manually adjusting it for each stitch. Right, that's the exposure sorted. I do quite like the rocks on this actually, I didn't think I would. Right, that's now an ISO of 100 and that's f30. I'm going to be going up to an ISO 200. Forgive me if there's any noise on this. ISO 200 because I want to shoot quite a high aperture on it, because I'm not going to be focus stacking. I'm going to focus into this rock you can't see. It's probably about the equivalent of the rock that you should be able to see here beside me. It's literally just in front of me really. It's probably about a third into the scene looking at the camera. Obviously in real life it's not a third, it's probably about 1%, or not even that, comparing it to the cooling range. So in fact I'm probably going to focus a bit further along. Right, focused in a bit further along the scene now. And I'm going to take that first shot. Right, that's 1.3 seconds. So I'm going to go down to F18. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the 2-second timer off, because I want it to... Right, that's a bit too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture the water as it's going back out. That was a bit too harsh, that was. So I'm just going to wait till, say now, and I should be able to catch a bit of that foam going across the rocks. And that's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the water to really come into it. I'm just looking for some details with the foam going across the scene. I'm going to have to try and time it, because I don't want any drama on these rocks here from the waves coming in. So I'm going to have to try and get a wave. Going to have to try and get a wave that doesn't affect it really. And the problem I'm going to have here is I'm going to have to try and do this and then do the clouds in a panoramic. If I take ages doing this and then do the next shot, the clouds are going to be different. So I'm going to have to try and get this pretty much spot on. So this wave coming in now, I'm just going to wait for it. I'm just going to take the picture now, and we got it ruined by this wave, unfortunately. Another thing I got to worry about is obviously the longer I'm here, the more the tide's coming in. So I'm going to get to a point where, although I've got the shot set up, it's no longer going to work. Right, that's quite nice now. It's a bit heavy on the water, but there's nothing I can probably bring down some of that in post. Just stitching around. I'm going to try and do a similar thing. Problem with panoramic stitches and water, there's a lot of movement. You can never guarantee exactly what they're going to come out like, but you can only try. Right, that's quite nice, that second shot, so I'm going to go around again. Just wait for the same thing, try and get the water as it's receding. Granted, I know I'm going to do too much of that, because the waves are going to be coming at different intervals. That's quite nice. I'm going to go around again. It's beautiful light on that cooling range, really, really beautiful. Lovely dappled light. Like I said, it's a shame we didn't get around there earlier, but in hindsight, I think it probably would have been a bad idea. I think it would have gone wrong. I'm just starting to get a bit of mist on the front of these filters now, unfortunately, from the splashes from the water.
So I'm going to have to try and get on with it and take some images. You can't luckily see them on the back of the pictures. I think it's because the lower down of the frame is so dark with the sea. It's not really coming out. Right, so I'm going to stop rabbiting on anyway. I'm just going to finish this stitch, put these together, and I'm going to be doing some portraits. I'm going to be getting a bit lower down in the scene as well. Like I said, I'm shooting with 2 grad filters on there. 0.9 hard grad, which is just being used to bring down some of the lightness to give it a bit of an ND. My exposure time now is 0.3 seconds, so as I sweep around and I get the light from the top of the mountain, the exposure time is changing. So I'm just going to drop my ISO down to bring it back to well, down to about about 125. Give me half a second. Yeah, so basically I'm shooting at f18 now, half a second, and that's an ISO of 125 with the 0.9 hard grad pulled down, and also the soft grad, the 0.9 leaf soft grad, just finishing it off. That's pretty much all I can do with it really, so I'll get these shots in the bag. Like I said, I'll get some other ones. It just shows that although when I was trying to get to the location that I wanted, it didn't 100% go to plan. It just shows you can always find a nice composition somewhere else. Like I said, I was hoping to get around there early before, because you get lots of nice round boulders and stones, I think, and you don't have so much of this kind of fall. It's probably a bit more coastal down there with the water, a bit further kind of into the sea, so it probably gets that water. That being said, if it is like that, it probably would have been covered up with the tide now anyway. So yeah, that's probably about all I'm going to do with those sweeps. I'll do one more just to be safe. I don't want to do too much. I don't want it to be too much of a panoramic stitch. I want it to be more of a just a normal image. Thanks for watching this one. It is a cool place, Elgol. It's somewhere that I think if you get the right conditions, if you get moody skies and rain and stuff like that, I think this is definitely the place to come to. You can see some really stunning images from this location. The hardest bit for me, the absolute hardest bit, is the foreground here. You've got this beautiful cullin range, you can't go wrong with that, but you just struggle sometimes getting the foreground to go with it. Hopefully I've got some nice images today. I really like the light on the mountain range earlier, shooting through that little crack in the cliff, and that is something I don't do a lot of. I don't really do isolated pictures of mountains so much, probably because I don't live around any. So it's a bit different than I wanted. It's more of a telly shot rather than a wide angle I was going for originally. So it's made me kind of think a bit more and made me be a bit more creative. But I think it's going to look really nice, those images, when they're put together. Thanks for watching this one. From today onwards, I'm going to be making my way back to Glencoe. I'm going to try and do a bit of exploring around there, around the snow-capped mountains. Hopefully they're still snow-capped. I'm probably going to be maybe stopping off anywhere on the way there to maybe Donnon Castle, I don't know how you pronounce it, sorry. Maybe get some shots there as well. Hopefully set up myself something for tonight and tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching this one. Please give it a thumbs up as ever if you've liked it, and consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you on the next one.
Leave me stranded, I know how to handle it all on my own. On my own. I have learned that no one else can carry this load. It's a train where I'm the only passenger.